Hey, everyone, and thank you for tuning in live. Today is Sunday, November 6th at 1 p.m. And this is the 89th episode of Skill Building Sunday with me, Jason Leeser. And I will be your host for today. If this is working for you, please let us know in the comments or in the chats. And please tag a friend who loves tattoos, whether it's an artist, an enthusiast, maybe someone thinking about getting their first tattoo. Sometimes just watching videos like this can really be helpful to people that are just curious about the process. And welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are encouraged to join in these live streams, real world events to share and inspire and ultimately create better art and tattoos together. We beam out nearly every day, and with your help have evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on-demand tattoo and art shows that have all been receiving rave reviews. You can find Reinventing the Tattoo in both of the app stores, the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, as well as our YouTube channel, our Roku channel, which has 12 to 15 channels going at any given time, as well as all of the major podcast directories such as Apple and Spotify. But no matter where you are watching live or on demand, you can always get the latest and greatest information at www.reinventingthetattoo.com. You can always try it out for free. We've got a ton of sample webinars from the Reinventing the Tattoo canon available, as well as free advice from Guy Aitchison about your unique goals. We also have a comprehensive tattoo history course from Jay Brown. You can also find the event schedule with a full weekly and special event live stream listing and the Reinventing 24/7 channel. Much like the Roku channel, it's got 13 channels playing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We also offer several professional development courses from 20 world-class tattoo artists, and they are absolutely spectacular. Highly recommend you check those out. Once again, if this is working for you, please let us know in the comments and in the chat area, and please tag a friend who loves tattoos. We're always trying to grow this network and these shows, and we're always trying to reach new people. So please, if you know anyone that might be interested in tuning in, tag them in it, send them a link, have them step in, maybe even join the Zoom call. You never know who's going to be joining in during these Sunday drawing groups. Speaking of which, we have a number of weekly staple shows that we always encourage people to tune into, starting on Sundays at 1 p.m. with me, Jason Leeser. And that's followed on Mondays at 9 a.m. with Drawing for Tattooers with James Wisdom, where we go through and we discuss some basic drawing techniques and strategies. That's followed on Mondays at 11 a.m. with the Tattoo Weekly Show, hosted by Lauren Gregory, Jake Meeks, and Gabe Ripley. Mondays at 5 p.m., we have Let's Talk About Feelings with Robbie Ripple, where we go through and we talk about how we feel about certain things. It's one of the lesser discussed topics in the tattoo industry. And that's all followed on Mondays at 9 p.m. with a subscriber exclusive drawing group with Sandy McAndrew. And that's followed on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. with a very good friend of mine, extremely talented artist and one hell of a tattooer, Ricardo Sertivant, for the Tuesday Feels drawing group. On Wednesdays at 1 p.m., we have the Tattoo Now show with Gabe Ripley, where we go through and tackle some of the business aspects behind tattooing. As well as Thursday at 6 p.m., we have the Tattoo Collecting 101 podcast with Vaughn Baker. We've got a number of different sponsors. I would like to go through and take a second to thank. These are some of the people that help make shows like this happen. Starting off with worldtattooevents.com, the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. They're constantly updating everything. As we know, living in this post-pandemic world, some conventions and events are still getting rescheduled like crazy. So for the latest, most up-to-date information on what tattoo events are happening in the world, no matter where you are, you can always find the latest information at worldtattooevents.com. Next, we have DLize Pro, known as Dermalize worldwide. Protect your art. if you're still using plastic wrap to wrap up your tattoos, it's probably time to step your game up. Go through, take a look, Google it, watch a few videos on it. This stuff was designed by wound care specialists and designed specifically to help heal tattoos. You cannot go wrong with DLize Pro. TattooNow.com, technology for tattooers, the leading edge in professional development, management, and digital tools for tattooers of all levels. They're constantly keeping everything up to date and upgraded, and they are extremely competitive with any current CRM, mailing list, or scheduling software out there. So if you're really looking to step into the new technology world and the new digital age in tattooing, take a look at TattooNow.com. That is where you can go to get the latest, most up-to-date technology information and technology resources currently available for tattooers. And of course, this wouldn't be reinventing the tattoo without a very special personal and professional thank you to Guy Aitchison, who you can find at guyaitchison.com. He is the founder and inspiration behind reinventing the tattoo. Go to guyaitchison.com where you can pick up a copy of his Biomech Encyclopedia, some of his DVDs. He's got some custom coil machines for sale. He's got a whole bunch of oil paintings and a whole lot more. Would also like to go through and take a very quick second to thank two of our affiliates, the Apprenticeship Diaries with Amy Nichols and the Fireside Tattoo Network. On the Apprenticeship Diaries, if you are looking to get into tattooing and you're kind of iffy about an apprenticeship and you don't know what to expect, the Apprenticeship Diaries with Amy Nichols is where to go for all of the most relevant information on apprenticeships. And if you're looking for a secondary source of tattoo information, you can always check out the Fireside Tattoo Network with Jake Meeks. There's tons of great content on there. I forget what episode they're on now, but I know that they've got a ton of videos and podcast episodes filled with absolutely priceless information. So go take a look at the Fireside Tattoo Network. As always, we always ask if you like these shows, please post positive reviews on the channel and help us get the word out. Make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons so that you can always stay up to date with the latest shows and the latest information. And if you would like to host a Reinventing the Tattoo event or become a sponsor of the community, maybe you're looking for a fine art or a tattoo critique, you can always email management@reinventingthetattoo.com and we will be happy to get back to you just as soon as we can. Whew, that's a mouthful. But now that the intro is done, I'm going to unmute everyone and ask everyone to start their videos. We've got a number of awesome people with us today in the Zoom session. We've got Iron Rose Tattoo Company beaming in. Thanks a lot. Much appreciated. You're beaming in on the YouTube channel. We've got Medusa with us. What's up, Medusa? Can you hear me?
Yes, I just accidentally had myself muted. Can you hear me?
We can indeed.
Hi.
And we've got Ricardo Sertivant with us, host of the Tuesday Feels Drawing Group, and Seth Mushrush as well. Feel very privileged to have him here today. Some of you may know the story about how Seth came and did a guest spot at the studio I was apprenticing at the time. And now I get to talk to him anytime I want, which is pretty awesome because this dude does rad tattoos. So you've got to take a look at Seth Mushrush.
Radical skedaddle.
I haven't seen Seth and Ricardo in a while, so hi to both of you.
What's up, guys?
What's going on?
What's up? What's up?
Same old, man.
Just,
I like the fan behind Ricardo's head.
It kind of gives him like that holy light aspect.
Yeah. Turn it on. Turn it on. Like, go gadget.
I know, right? Tell me about it.
Yeah, I'm actually just now starting to prep and gear up for Puerto Rico, which isn't until the end of the month, but I like to be proactive.
Nice.
I'm trying to get some new stickers made, and I'm trying to find a new place that does metallic gold. So anyone that might be watching out there, if you have any advice on where I should go for that, let me know. But yeah, I over the past couple of shows and travels that I've gone on, I'm like almost completely out of stickers. I think I would go through 300 stickers that quickly, but apparently I make nice stickers. I don't know.
They have quality products, they fly off the shelves.
I think it's because there's so much gold on there that like people think they can take them home and like scrape the gold off and like melt that down.
You're just handing your stickers to leprechauns.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're like,
I'm
"Oh,
okay with
God."
that though. They're my people. Like I'm okay with that.
I can see you fitting in with a group of a horde of leprechauns very well.
Because you just don't know who's going to be paying attention to you.
Shit.
They are my people. Don't ever doubt that.
They're always after your Lucky Charms.
Hearts, stars, and horseshoes, clovers and blue moons, pots of golden rainbows,
and the red balloons.
You guys remember that too well.
Yeah.
I think
what kind of a childhood did you have if you weren't obsessed with cereal?
Oh man.
What do you mean childhood? I'm still obsessed with cereal.
Okay.
I do love cereal. I do like Life cereal. Life cereal is probably one of my favorites, dude.
Really?
Yeah, but life is kind of bitter and like sour and like kind of weird sometimes.
Okay. Are we still talking about the actual cereal, or what are you talking about here?
This is life.
I'm just saying, if they were to really truly model life cereal off of life, it would not taste very good.
Yeah.
Well, a bite of disappointment. And
you would have to work through 6 bags just to get to the cereal because life isn't that easy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And also immediately when you pour it, it's just gonna come out like a soggy bowl that's been sitting out for 6 hours, just immediately. You know what? That's one of my favorite new insults. I'm gonna call people soggy cereal. What are you? Fucking soggy ass cereal? Your bowl that's been sitting out for 4 hours? Quit being a disappointment.
Sick burn.
Get your shit together, you soggy cereal.
That's a good one. I'm not gonna lie. I may have to borrow
Anybody
that.
remember the Family Guy episode where I think it was Captain Crunch goes into Don Corleone and Don Corleone says to him, "Why should I help you and get rid of this Count Chocula?" He says, "Because that son of a bitch has been spreading lies. My cereal does not cut the roof of your mouth."
But it does.
But it does. Oh my God. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I mean, I love Captain Crunch, but yeah, that shit it does cut the roof of your mouth. I want to say though, if you can eat it quickly before it gets soggy, because it does have a tendency to get soggy. Actually, my 2 favorite cereals both get soggy really quick, so they're inhaling cereals. Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Honey Bunches of Oats, which I like to call Honey Bunches of Hall & Oats.
Oh yeah.
So then you always have your own theme music while you're trying to rush to finish the bowl before it gets soggy.
That's a good one.
Nice.
I like it.
Like Hall & Oates playing in my head. It's not bad. What are you working on today, Ricardo?
I'm working on this. Let me show you guys. I'm working on this picture. I've been working on it for the past few days.
What?
Damn.
What?
Love what you did. Hold on, I'm gonna spotlight that.
Are you tattooing that?
I hope so. That'd be awesome if I could.
Do you have somebody lined up already?
No, I haven't shown it.
You have
to
somebody
anybody
lined
yet.
up already?
I don't. I haven't shown anybody yet.
Wow.
Is that chest or back?
Chest.
Can it be for back?
Yeah, it could be.
That's
nice, man.
so brutal.
Fuck.
I mean, I had my back reserved for a hopeful Steve Moore, but I might just dump him for you, man.
Oh, damn dog.
Damn. Now, if that's not a compliment, I don't know what is.
That's fucking sick.
I'm gonna have to work like 100 more hours on this thing to do that.
It's probably one of those pieces that, like, the more you work on it, the more you're like, oh, get another hour in on it. Get another hour. I mean, who knows where that thing goes? But right now,
it'll never finish.
So dope, dude.
Yeah. Next thing you know, you've dumped like 60 hours into it, and you're sitting back and you're like, yeah, I'm about halfway there.
Yeah. That's exactly it. This is supposed to be the project for last Monday night, the exercises. And man, I just keep pouring more and more time into it. Like you said, dude, I don't think it's going to be finished. You know what I mean? I don't think it's ever going to be finished, really. It's like, what's that?
I was going to say it's done when somebody it'll be finished when somebody looks at it and says, I want that. And you're like, perfect. Okay. We're ready to go.
I'm getting a really big sense of deja vu right now, because I feel like we've had this exact discussion before.
Fill me in.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but like, yeah. By the way, Iron Rose Tattoo Company on the YouTube channel says Life gets the Iron Rose Tattoo Company vote for best cereal.
Oh yeah, dude.
There you go. Is that regular Life or Cinnamon Life?
Cinnamon Life.
It's got to be regular.
Cinnamon Life is a little too spicy for me. Okay. Yeah. I like vanilla Life.
Ricardo, my man.
Yeah, dude.
Cinnamon, bro. It's gotta be cinnamon.
I think, is it me and Seth versus you and Ricardo?
I think so.
All right. In the game of life, Seth, you
now,
ready?
wait a minute. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we're just going to kick their ass, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Cinnamon Bros.
That's not going to take too much to kick my ass. I'm not going to.
All right.
You guys want to know cinnamon at you?
Here's what I do with my cereal. This might be a total nerd thing, but I put protein powder in it. You know what I mean?
There you go. Why not?
I go with fresh berries.
Yeah, that's good too.
Protein powder in my coffee.
There you go. But do you do it hot or cold?
Either.
Well, you got to be careful when it's hot because it burns the protein.
So, nerd.
Yeah, total nerd.
Not know that.
Total bro.
That's fun.
So before we go way too off topic, I did want to actually get into and ask you guys about a couple of very specific things today. And try to like keep things more geared towards like a streamlined topic, because I know how these things get, and sometimes we just go way off. But
what's up, Chris?
So inventory, right?
Yeah.
How often do you guys do inventory?
Oh,
never.
Man, dude.
As a matter of fact, I'm opening up a box right now, which has been successfully opened, as you can see, of inks that I just ordered because I'm really bad at taking inventory. So I just randomly clicked and got like a couple that I knew that I needed to refill and other ones that I kind of thought that I needed to refill. So yeah, tell us about that.
I don't know about you guys. I have mine set up on like an every other week basis. Is that the Pitch Black from Raw?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, mwah.
I got the 8-ounce one.
Can't go wrong.
And then I got a bunch of other colors from Raw.
I think you'll like them. Just make sure you shake them up really, really well.
Oh yeah, I've been slowly switching all of my colors out to Raw over the past couple of months. Since Hell City, actually. Oh my goodness, look at this color. It's so pretty.
Which one?
This is baby blue.
Oh, okay.
I have all of the ones that Ricardo named too.
Like Red Cardo?
Red Cardo hasn't been made yet.
Oh. Not yet.
I got Dragon Green, which the D is kind of cut off, so it looks like it says Oregon Green, but it's the featured color.
Oh, nice, yeah. I did a drawing though.
Yeah, this is a gorgeous color.
Yeah, that's really nice.
I got a couple of flesh tones because I was really inspired by Fast Alley's nipple restoration.
It was a good seminar
thing. That was really good. Like, I've been drawing nipples and I am really interested. I've reached out to a couple of paramedical tattooers here in Portland for their advice. And I might hit up Fatality to go over there and like learn from her in person, or try to guest spot or something and talk with her some more, because that's something I'm really interested in.
If you let me know when you're planning on doing that, I was actually thinking about heading up there and doing a guest spot as well. Maybe we could coordinate times to head up there.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a plus.
Yeah. I got Cash Out. This is a gorgeous green. Look at this. Yeah. Look at this green. Could you not get fucking lost in that? Oh.
So they have a phthalo green concentrate, which I am absolutely obsessed with. I mix that in with like every green that I use. I'll mix that with like a yellow ochre or like a dirty yellow that they make, and it's beautiful for like an olive drab with like a tiny little drop of black in it, and it's like perfect every time.
Amethyst, raw cocoa.
Coco's great.
The coco's awesome.
Cocoa. Yeah, it's such a deep, dark brown. That's going to be able to go.
But it's a neutral brown, which is what I really like about it. It's not an orange base. It's not too red. It's not too green. It's that like perfect neutralized brown tone.
Yeah. No, I when I saw it on the website and read the description, I don't remember what the description said, but something stood out where I was all like, this is the brown that I like need for my deep darks when I don't really want to put in black, but I have like an earthy theme going on. Because I've been trying to find dark colors that I can use in place of blacks that work with the themes of the colors, because I'm trying to shake that mentality, that traditional style mentality where like, oh, just put more black in.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to be all like, all right, less black. I know how to work with colors. I can make this more dynamic. I can use contrast to make things seem darker without actually having to go through a whole bottle of raw in a sitting.
Right.
Which I've never been through, but my last bottle went really quickly, and that's when I was just like, I shouldn't be using that much black.
Well, it also plays to the concept of like having some aspects on reserve, right? So if you have your true black shading concentrated in one area, that is going to create a more dynamic piece, and it's going to force people to look where that maximum amount of contrast is going to be, right? So for other places throughout a tattoo, look at that color palette. Look at
nice.
That. That's beautiful.
I didn't even think these would all look so good together when I ordered either. I was picking randomly, but I just love seeing them all together.
Yeah, all those neutral tones together look real nice, you know?
Hell yeah. Oh,
we can't hear you. You're muted.
When you guys are mixing out of a dark area or from black, like a shadowed area, really intense dark area, out into a color, are you guys mixing that color with black as you blend it out, or are we fading the black out, kind of like blending the black out first and then laying the color over top of that?
I blend black out first and then lay color over top of it, because I don't like directly mixing black into my inks. I feel like I have a lot more control over it if I do it individually and then add color, because black is so powerful.
Yeah, it dulls things out really quickly, but sometimes I find like if once the piece is settled into the skin, sometimes I feel like there's a little too much of a drastic difference between the black and the color, and I'm like, oh, I should have mixed I'll still blend the black out, but maybe I gotta cut the color with just a touch of the black or something to darken it up to kind of get a little more of a smooth transition. Then I see some other people do some stuff where it just looks like they're laying color, almost right next to one another, like it's very little blending and more just color choice and being direct and kind of purposeful with what it is that they're doing, so I don't know.
So I usually try to go through and find a transitional color, like something that's going to neutralize or be like a more of a neutral tone between the two. Lately, I've been really liking doing, so if I'm blending out to say red, I'll go black to like a purple, a dark purple into a red.
Yeah.
Right. As opposed to just going straight black to red.
Right.
Because then
and not
I'm going to
mixing
have
the
that
black
cooler tone mixing in with the warmer tone to create that kind of a transition.
The transition, and not mixing the black into the red and then using less black with more red and then just straight red. You're going black blending into like a purple and have that purple go out into the red. Correct. Now are you mixing the purple and the red together to get like a kind of a tertiary before you move on to the just straight red? Yeah. But still blending out, we're still smoothing out that blend in the skin before laying the other mixed color on top of it.
Correct.
Awesome. Good points.
And then that way you're getting multiple layers down for saturation purposes.
Yeah.
To really make sure that skin is super saturated, but you're creating, in my mind, not just from black, which is the absence of color, but you're taking that into a cooler tone and then you're taking it into a warmer tone. So you're adding another level of transition there, as opposed to just completely desaturated color to completely pure bright color. You know, you're creating a longer gradient, even in a smaller space, you're creating a longer gradient up to that tone that you want. You know, plus by adding in that additional color to fade out black from, you're really making sure that skin is super saturated exactly where you want it to be.
Awesome. Good points, man. Good advice. That's a great painting, bro.
Oh, thanks.
We changed the topic from inventory.
Yes,
like
we did.
That thanks to me. Sorry.
Yeah. So I have something to say about inventory is don't feel bad if you're one of the artists out there that do like me and you open up your drawer and you go, oh shit, I have to overwrite some stuff. Because I do that all the time. And I mean, even when I try to sometimes I'll have a really good week and I'm like, I'm going to stock up for the next month. And I do. And lo and behold, a week before I need to order, I'm like, I got to get on this. I got to, I can't tell you how many times I picked up an ink bottle and just heard that little bead rattling around in a void. I'm like, damn.
Yep.
So don't feel bad if that happens, because it happens to everybody.
Yeah, we've all been there.
23 years in and it still happens. Yeah.
You know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
I think it's my method.
That is the patented Seth Mushrush method of inventory.
Yeah.
Patent pending.
Patent pending.
So I do the patented Seth Mushrush method of my inventory. Sometimes I go a little bit further, and right before a tattoo, I pull out my drawer and I just like, does anybody got a 5 round I can borrow? I'm picking up.
Oh, you're that person?
All the time.
No, not all the time. But I do have one particular coworker who's always in that boat with me, and she always has the needles I need, and I always have the needles she needs. So basically, we're just
symbiotic.
Trading needles back and forth. There's an ongoing joke that we have shared custody over our inventories because neither of us are on top of our game, but we can always help each other out. Like yesterday, she needed a 13 curve mag and I needed an 11 mag, and I didn't have any 11s and she didn't have any 13s, but I had 13s and she had 11s. So we just traded and we are like, sweet, this works out. Like put off our run to the supply store for another week. But that's not going to work when I'm guest spotting.
I get
You don't want to be that person that goes into a guest spot and is like, yo, can I grab like a 5 mag off of someone?
Yeah.
Hey, does anyone have a 9 mag I can grab? That's just poor form.
When I work at the Concord Gallery, I always get hooked up if I need it when I'm up there, because they all use cartridges too. Some of them still use, needles on the bar, but at Baker Street Media, I am on an island. So if I don't have a cartridge, I don't have a cartridge. I got to figure out how to do it with something else.
If you don't have a cartridge, dude, you can call me and I will run one up to you.
Oh, really?
I'm really lucky that
that's the sexiest thing I ever heard, Jason. Thank you.
Stop.
My shop is about 7 blocks away from the tattoo supply store.
Oh, stop.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's where I would just
really
be outside
nice.
You better
waiting
send
for them
them
to open
pizza
up.
weekly
No,
and coffee.
Literally, there are times where we're just like call of it a receptionist. Our receptionist, I talk about her all the time. She's amazing. She's the best. Mine's better than yours. No, I just love her. There would be constantly, huh?
I have to one up you here for a second. I don't even have to go to a supply store. They have a delivery van that comes around every other week.
Oh, White Rose used to do that.
Bingo.
Is that who used to? Yeah.
And they roll up and it's like, who needs what? And you're like, okay, I need this. You know what? Let me grab one of these, two of these, five of these bottles of color. That looks cool. Give me that too. Right. And so I don't even have to go to the supply store anymore. I just, by default, it's like, oh yeah, they should be coming around on Friday.
Okay, but I'm going to take my one up back because I can go to the supply store any day. You have to wait every 2 weeks.
I think she's got you trumped there, dude, for sure.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
That's a stage right there.
Hands down right there. I mean, you could literally go to the store and just be waiting in line for them to open and be like, yeah, I'm going to go get my stuff right now.
Now, Medusa, are you making sure you keep them strapped down with coffee and gifts to stay on their good side?
Yes.
They have a tip jar that I'm always trying to fill every time I'm over there. But I should bring them coffee and gifts because they know me by name now. They know my account. They don't even need to ask for my info when I come in. So I need to think of something really good to do for them for the holiday too. Holiday season's coming up.
Donuts.
Yep, the holiday season's coming up, so I was brainstorming this morning all the things I can do for people in the industry to show my appreciation as an artist, but without, breaking the bank. Like maybe making a card and sending it out to all my favorite suppliers or something.
Cards go a long way. Yeah, bro, that thing is badass, man.
God damn.
Whoa.
Who's doing that?
That looks great.
Who's working on that?
GR1s?
GR1s.
Well,
yeah, I was confusing him with somebody else, his name, but I follow him online. That stuff is crazy, man.
Fuck right off. That is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, what's your name, bro?
Yeah, jump on the audio.
Well, want me to call you Gerwans?
Gerwans.
No microphone. Boo.
Oh, right on. GR. Dope. Yeah, follow you online, man. It's good stuff. Stuff's amazing.
Yeah, killer.
Hell yeah. Anyways, back to inventory. Sorry about that again.
Sorry. Yeah. Name
well,
is
what's the
GR?
one thing in inventory that you guys will what's one thing that you find maybe that you order the most, that you run out of the most, like you run out of quickly, maybe you're not thinking of it, and it's like, for me, I'm out on the bandage wraps. Yeah. So I always try to, like, when I think about it, I'll order 4 or 5 cases of it and just bite the bullet, because I know I go through them so quickly. When I have them, I use them way too much. And then follow-up question, do any of you guys ever use any of that netting over top of the tattoos when you're done wrapping them? They use them at the gallery. It's like a cotton net tube that they make in different sizes, right? So different diameters. You can pull them over a sleeve, you can pull them over a leg sleeve, and you'll wrap the tattoo and then slide that up over it, and then, wrap you can wrap the other stuff on the bottom, the Sensi wrap, the self-clinging bandage. But this net, it's like it's open, so you can still kind of see through it. But the pressure on the tattoo, it just feels like, clients say it feels so good. Like they feel like it protects it, but it's not too cumbersome by like having a whole arm wrapped.
Right. So like the netting they put on pears in the grocery store?
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
It's kind of like that. Yeah. kind of like that. Comes in a big roll, and they have different, like, you can get them to fit thighs, arms, you know, feet, hands, like all different sizes.
So I don't use the netting, but what I have used in the past that tended to work really, really well, and it gave that same kind of like compression feel. This is like a little life hack for tattooers out there. Go out to your local like sports supply place, pick up a whole bunch of medical pre-wrap.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like this like light, foamy, very thin wrap that you can use, do a layer of that over top, and then you can, you know, obviously wrap up your tattoo, do a layer of that over top, and then you can go right over top of that with Coban. And it provides that same kind of, you know, compression like feel to it.
Yeah. I've been doing that a lot with the with those meat pad things, you know what I mean? And the Coban. Yeah, the dry lock stuff, and then the Coban. It's been working out pretty well. The dry lock definitely helps keep the you know, that plasma kind of under control for sure. And then that Cincy wrap definitely helps hold it into place and stuff. But I've always wanted to try that netting, because I remember seeing it at a convention. I was like, well, that's pretty smart. And I figured it was just because of the convention itself, you know what I mean? I thought it was like provided for the convention, so it helps keep everybody a little bit safer and stuff like that, walking around with a fresh tattoo and everything. But I mean, it's convenient, dude. Like, that's one of the reasons that I like that second skin, dermaplast, all that stuff like that. But like, sometimes you're doing such big tattoos, it's hard to get pieces to fold over on the elbow or fold over on the shoulder and stuff like that. It's just so cumbersome, you know, like it's hard.
You don't want people walking around with like one stiff arm the whole time because it's completely covered in like
it's just nice too that like product. There's the idea that they can kind of see through it a little bit too, you know what I mean? Like, it is way less cumbersome, like especially when you go over joints, you know, using the Coban to wrap up over like an elbow, they just get like that stiff arm, right? You know, like they have the C3PO arm.
Right.
But you put the net over. So you put the netting over and just use the Coban at the top and the bottom to kind of hold it in place. And then they have free movement, you know, it's very convenient. But that's the only place I've ever seen that uses it. And they usually keep a steady supply of it. So I keep telling myself I want to get it for the shop down in Media, but never really get around to it.
Where is that? What's the name of the place?
Which one? The one in Media?
The one that you're talking about that carries that supply, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's in Massachusetts. That's that's called the Gallery Tattoo Studio. That's in Concord, Massachusetts. Anybody listening now, I definitely recommend giving them a follow on Instagram. Kurt, who owns the place, is a good friend of mine. I met him back in 04, 05 when I was working up in Massachusetts for a few years, out in Cambridge. And him, Brian Hemming, who now works at Ghost in the Machine, which is Eric Reith's shop. They're all good dudes. And everybody at that shop at the gallery is like it's one of those like just really technically sound drawers. Like everybody there can just nail down, you know what I mean? They're really technically sound with everything. So I always go on and I'm like, oh, I gotta step my game up.
Yeah. I think that, you know what I'd like to try to do is there's a whole bunch of like little apps on your iPhones and your iPads and everything like that. There's one called Numbers that you can kind of like program the cells and stuff like that, where you can keep track of things like that for you, man. I think Supplies is definitely one of them that they actually have like a pre-programmed setup for you, and you can just kind of keep track. You type in all your stuff, and it can send you alerts and things like that, and things you might be low on and stuff like that. Because I know alarms and settings to remind me of stuff they're like one of my best friends, dude, because I forget so much shit all the time. So much shit all the time, and it's like easy to. I just like let's talk about the fact about being a tattoo artist in general, right? Like, there's so many things that are on our mind all the time. You know, I don't know about you guys, but like, okay, I have this drawing I have to get done by next week. I have this tattoo that I'm gonna be doing today. I got to focus on it. Have I eaten yet? You know what I mean? When am I gonna sleep next?
Have I eaten yet? You actually ask yourself that?
I do.
Dude, that's up to my arc front counter person. Our receptionist is the one always asking, have you eaten?
Oh yeah, we'll go all day without eating, right?
Yeah, completely forget about it, and like like 20 cups of coffee in, and like,
and your eyes twitching and stuff like that.
And you're like, yeah, I can take on one more walk-in.
Yeah. Excuse me, man. Well, guys, I have to. I gotta sign off here. I'm going to my daughter's cheer competition thing, so. I will catch up with you guys next Sunday on my way back to PA. I will tune in from my car.
Cool, Sounds man. Great, Peace out.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
You too. Take care.
Thanks. As far as inventory goes, I have recently been trying to cut back on things that are not necessary. So when I just run out of some of the things that I'd like to consider luxuries, if I run out, then I'm running out, and I'm not replacing it because I don't actually need it. Like bottle bags. I don't need to buy bottle bags when I can use saran wrap that's already at my station that my shop provides. That's way cheaper and way more accessible. I love them. They're fun, but they are a luxury. You don't actually need those. And those little foam dip caps, love those so much. I really, really love those. I have a box of those, but I only use one for like big, huge projects that are like require it. But when I run out of it, I'm not going to buy anymore because I don't actually need those, because I need to start focusing on saving my money and to go towards other things in my career, such as like plane tickets for traveling to go to more conventions. So with my inventory, I'm trying to start to fade into a more minimalistic approach.
So it's actually interesting that you bring that up, because that was going to be my next point that I wanted to discuss was reinvestment, right? And how much, and this is something that, you know, I know a few tattooers out there that do this. I do this with whenever I do tattoos, but it's something that I don't really hear a whole lot about. And that's, you know, how much are you putting away out of each tattoo to go back through and reinvest into your equipment, your supplies, travel, business cards, stickers, prints, whatever. Are you doing that just kind of like ad hoc, like, oh, I'm running out of stickers, let me go through and order some more? Or are you actually setting up a percentage of each tattoo to go through and set that aside for, you know, whatever it is you need?
That sounds like a lot more thinking than I want to do.
So lately, I thought I was trying to get into the habit of taking, you know, 20 to 25% of whatever it is that I make off of every tattoo, like my cut of whatever, you know, it is I make, and taking that and setting that aside and using that as more of like a reinvestment kind of thing, so that I can go through and be like, oh, my power supply crapped out on me. Okay, let me go through and I know I can do this because I know I have this money set aside. Or, hey, you know, so-and-so just came out with a new machine. Cheyenne just came out with a new 5mm stroke wireless machine. I want to try that. Let me go through, and I know I've already got the money for that because I've been putting away for that for a little while through this like little bit of whatever it is that I'm doing, right? It's just something I started doing, and it tends to be working out pretty well. But it also helps because I use that same fund for like supplies if I'm running low, so that way I know that, okay, this is my supply money, this is money for this is money for that. You know, it's not something that I really hear too many artists out there doing, but it's something I've found personally to be very helpful. So I was just curious if anyone else out there does anything like that.
I wish I did.
Yeah, it sounds like a really, really smart idea, but I don't think I have the capacity to like plan that far ahead. I have to find approaches that are super easy because I'm easily overwhelmed by a lot of things.
That's fair.
Like working at a shop that's only a few blocks away from the supply store.
Yeah, the whole reason why I've been thinking about this and trying to get things more online is so I did just pick up a new machine.
What'd you get?
I got the Cheyenne Solnova Unlimited 3.5.
I've been thinking about picking that one up, man. What do you think about it?
Dude, it's really slick. I love it.
Yeah, that's
I've
the
been
one
using
that
it on like every tattoo. It's got it. I'm finding that it's not irritating the skin quite as much. I'm not getting quite as much redness with like my black and gray work because it doesn't have quite the impact. It doesn't have quite the downward force, right? That something like the FK Irons, EXO or the Flux has, right? Think of like a boxer, right? And this is the way it was always put to me. As far as stroke length goes, think of a boxer, right? So with a short stroke, you've got a very short punch, right? So you're not going to have too much velocity. Longer stroke, right? A little bit longer, all the way up. And the longer that stroke is, the harder that hit's going to be because you've got velocity coming down on the tips of those pins. And 3.5 has been like my universal go-to stroke length for a long time, just because I find that if I just vary my technique, I can achieve almost any kind of outcome. If I need to lay in a 35 mag for solid black areas or black and gray, I know exactly how to modify my technique in order to achieve a solid area with a massive mag. I'm not saying I do it very often, but I used to be able to push a 35 or a 45 mag using an Injecta Nano Elite. That's got a 3.2 stroke. So it's not a very long stroke. Yeah, the Nano's got a huge power band as far as what you can run it at. But I found personally that switching back to a shorter stroke length, I'm still able to use all of my normal groupings. I'm just doing it with a lot less like trauma and a lot less redness. Now, granted, the longer the stroke, the less dwell time in the skin. And that is technically going to allow for less trauma. But I found 3.5 to be that good sweet spot in between impact force, right? And skin trauma. So to me, that's like that golden number, but that's just what I've experienced. Some people prefer 4mm stroke. Some people prefer 5. Some people prefer 3.2 or 2.8 or whatever. I'm not a big fan of 2.8, but that's just me. I find that that's almost too short. 3.2 is always a good option, but for me, 3.5 is like that golden number. That's just what I've found personally. And that's what I'm starting to actually pick up on a little bit more with this new machine. Can't recommend it enough. I absolutely love it. You can usually find them used on pages like Tattoo Gear for Sale, or some of the tattoo equipment Facebook groups. There's almost always people out there trying to sell them for whatever reason. Maybe they just don't like them. Who knows? But I really like it. So that's what I've really started to use a lot more. I still want to pick up one of the Numas, one of the new Numa 4s. I've been hearing great things about that. And it is on my list of new machines to pick up. I just haven't really gotten the chance yet.
I didn't know you hadn't tried a Numa yet.
Nope. I've heard a lot of great things about it. I know a lot of people out there using them that absolutely swear by them. But I just have not actually had the option to use one yet. And I'd like to try one out before I buy one. And the owner of the studio that I work at actually owns a 3.5 millimeter Cheyenne wireless. He's like, yeah, here you go, dude. Use it for a couple of tattoos. See what you like before you buy it. So I have that kind of advantage because, much like myself, the owner of the studio that I work at collects tattoo machines of all different types. He's got a collection of coils that is absolutely insane. Historic stuff too, not just like, modern, Seth Safaris or anything like that. He's got Milton Zeiss. He's got Charlie Wagner's, original Sailor Jerry Bulldogs, you name it. So really awesome dude. But he also has a whole bunch of different machines like Flux, the Exo. He's got the Flux Max. He's got a whole bunch of different Zions set up differently. Inkjectas, the Inkjecta Eclipse, the Inkjecta Flight 1 or whatever the wireless Inkjecta is. He's like me. There's a new machine that comes out, he's like, yeah, I'll pick one up. I'll try it out. So it's like, okay, cool. If I want to try one, I'll ask him if I can borrow one of his. But he just doesn't have a Numa. So I have to go through and actually buy one of those.
I think it's pretty simple though, that like, as much as everybody would love to be able to just pick up machines and stuff like that whenever they can, you know what I mean? It's good to be realistic with yourself.
Right.
And if you can't afford those things, it's something to put on a list of like priority. You know what I mean? Like, am I going to go out and drink all night with my friends on Friday night, or am I going to save that money, or am I going to eat out all week, or am I going to save that extra, like, $350 I can save in 1 week just off of not eating out, every day. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like, it's pretty simple. It's like budgeting 101. You know what I mean? You kind of take your bills and you kind of average out how much you make an hour, and you can figure out how many hours you actually have to work in order to pay those bills. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's something that you take into consideration, and it's something that you put on that list. And you can kind of like look at the list every once in a while and be like, swoon, one day.
Yeah, that's also part of the reason why I wanted to bring up like inventory, and then like, is anyone setting stuff aside? Because that's how I was able to pick up this new Cheyenne. That, and I found a really good deal on it, so I couldn't really pass that up.
Yeah.
They normally retail for what, like $1,200?
Yeah, I think so.
And I found one for $750.
Nice.
So saved myself a little bit of money on that. But I really like it, man. Highly recommend it. I especially like it with the give feature that they have built into it. I think that's just the bee's knees, man. It's awesome.
What do you apply that to?
It's got a little bit of what?
What do you apply that option to? Like, what do you apply that give? So
I used the give option.
You use it for your black and gray or
gray piece?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And it was great, dude. It was, I could use it. It was like using a brush. Super flexible. It had just the right amount of give where it wasn't super soft, but it still had enough of a stiff hit that you could control your needle depth with your hand. But if you were using it at like 90 degrees to just like, like sweep back and forth, like brush stuff in, it was perfect. It just sat right along the top of the skin. And it was amazing. I was like, damn, this is like effortless.
Yeah.
So highly recommend that. If for no other reason than the give feature on that is amazing. I've tried the give on the Exo and the Flux, and to me, it's just not the same.
Yeah, I didn't really like it. I tried it, and I mean, maybe it's different on a different machine, but I didn't really like that give feature. It was like, ugh. It definitely didn't. It's supposedly supposed to feel like the old coils and stuff like that, but I gotta be honest, I didn't see the resemblance. I didn't see it at all.
I did not like it one bit, not at all. And so I just have my Exo set up with absolutely no give.
Yeah, that's where I am. I mean, ever since I switched over to rotary pens, you know what I mean? That's definitely one of the things that I noticed, or like just a rotary machine even, you know what I mean? My big thing was switching over from coils to the pen. So I went rotary machine first, where it still had a lot of counterbalance to it, like back end weight. So I used that, but I did notice right away that there's no give on the machine whatsoever. You know what I mean? So that took a slight learning curve as far as technique goes, and speed of machine versus speed of your hand and everything. But yeah, man, I've only used 2 different pens that have that e-give kind of thing on it, or that give on it. And both of the different machines that I used, I didn't really like it. It definitely wasn't like the old coil machines at all.
Right.
And I've gotten so accustomed to the pens. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you try the Cheyenne machine, in fact, I'm even half tempted to be like, Ricardo, I'll mail you mine. Just try it out, dude.
Nah,
I think it'll change your mind.
I'll use I think I'm gonna get one though, for sure. That's next on the list. I think I'm gonna be doing that in the next week, because man, I really want to get that machine.
The other thing that I really, really like about it, and this is something that a lot of wireless machine companies don't really like to discuss and talk about, and that's the fact that Cheyenne actually opened up their process to how they run their wireless machines. And they tell you, if you actually sit down and read the instruction manual that it comes with, they'll tell you exactly what battery to buy if you start to notice those batteries losing charge or not holding as much charge, or maybe they're dying real quick and you constantly have to switch them out. They will tell you exactly what battery to buy, and you can buy them on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, by opening that up and not having that be a proprietary battery system,
mm-hmm.
I feel a lot more comfortable using that than I would from using something like the FK Irons Powerbolt battery, just because if that starts to not hold as much charge anymore after a time, now you have to go out and you have to spend a ridiculous amount of money to get a new one of those. Same thing with the critical battery packs. Love them. I have 2 of them. They do work well. But if those start to not hold a charge after a while, now I have to go out and drop a whole bunch more money on one of those battery packs, as opposed to spending, $40 on Amazon for a battery. So for me, I'd rather have that than, go through and spend 4 times more money.
Yeah, likewise.
I will say, though, I do like the critical battery packs as well. Those are very, very nice.
My iPad just died.
Boo.
I know. It's a sad, sad state of affairs.
Hopefully your work saved.
I think it did. If not, it's okay. No big deal.
So we did have a comment in the YouTube, and I'm sorry I'm late getting to this. When I was asking how much everyone saves and puts aside from whatever it is they make off of every tattoo for supplies, Ali did mention that she puts aside 20 to 30%, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm not the only person putting that kind of money aside for things like that.
I can't put aside stuff. That's how much I actually get to go home with.
Like once all is said and done.
Yeah. But then again, okay, so there's shop percentage, and then I also already prematurely count out of each tattoo. Wait, no, I'm doing exactly what you're talking about. Never mind. I just didn't realize it. Yeah, so I get to keep a larger percentage, but I only mentally think that I'm keeping a much smaller percentage because I've already subtracted beforehand what I need to set aside for supplies.
It helps when you do that, doesn't it?
Yeah. So like I always think for what I'm charging that I'm only going to keep 20 to 30% of that, because the other percentage of the tattoo cost is going towards my shot percentage, obviously, re-upping supplies and things that are already necessary, like saving money towards paying my rent at home and food and all of that. So yeah, I guess, sorry, I got confused and then fixed my confusion out loud.
That happens sometimes. It's okay. We all do it.
So 20 to 30% is what other people are averaging to set aside for re-upping supplies out of every tattoo.
I mean, I do 25% pretty much standard, but that also goes towards things like travel, new machines, equipment upgrades, things of that nature, business cards, stickers, stuff like that. So I try to factor all of that in. And that's why to me, it's like a standard 25%. Because like, I don't know where everyone's getting stickers made and stuff like that, but every quote I have gotten for 3x5 stickers that have that metallic gold in the past like few days has been like $300, which I think is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
they are fancy. And
for how much?
For like 250 to 300 stickers.
Okay.
So they're almost $1 a piece.
Yeah, that's when they're pricing things to be resold, so that instead of giving it away, you would be selling each sticker for $3 to $5 a piece. Right. Not really pricing very well for things that you plan on using as another form of a business card, or a freebie, or handing out. Yeah. How much do you think for each of your from each of your tattoos? What percentage do you think you get to go home with that's just yours, that you can spend on what you're like play money? It's not going towards rent, it's not going towards groceries, it's not going towards the shop percentage, it's not going towards supplies or promotional stuff.
Probably about 20%.
So when you price a tattoo, do you kind of know in advance how much money you're going to take home that you can do whatever the fuck you want with, that has no prior obligations? Or do you think about that?
I don't usually factor that in too much.
Like when you're pricing a tattoo at the end of an appointment, and you're thinking, how much money do I have of this am I taking home that I can use at the bar, or spend on like a new video game or something like that, versus how much of this is going into.
So typically speaking, what I do is I don't really factor that kind of money in, because everything that I get that I take home, that's for what I like to call discretionary spending, which is, I believe, what you're discussing. Yeah. To me, that is all money that I funnel into different other ventures, such as printmaking, such as savings, such as travel funds and fund money like that. At home, I don't really do anything. It's kind of sad, to be honest with you. I don't really do a whole lot. Every now and then I'll go out to dinner. Every now and then I'll get myself something nice. But I don't usually spend money unless it's like tattoo related or travel related, or, things of that nature. Because I don't go out anymore, and I don't do the quote unquote fun things that a lot of other people do. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I realize.
Then I will, but yeah.
You don't do none of that chuggy stuff.
Or unless people like Ricardo come to visit. In that case, I've got like a fun money account.
Yeah. I think it's like a lot of people are like, well, you shouldn't be focusing on how much money you're making for yourself and stuff. But recently I've been trying to keep this in mind because I do funnel a lot of money into trying out new supplies. Obviously getting rent bills and everything like that taken care of, and then funneling a lot of money back into tattooing, which is great. But I also realized that I haven't personally been giving myself any non-tattoo related activities or time, which can lead up to tattoo burnout really quickly. And so lately I've been trying to find like new hobbies and stuff. Like the last couple of months, I've started playing with jigsaw puzzles and things as a way to like decompress and to get out of work mode. And so I've been starting to think about like how much money am I going to be able to set aside for something that's not career related, that I can just enjoy and relax with. And I think that's pretty important because otherwise you'll, burn out really quickly.
Which is very true. And burnout is a serious thing. Burnout is something that all artists experience at one point in time or another. What I found is that by budgeting my time very, very strictly, to the point that like I give myself Sunday nights and Monday evenings before class to work on my art, right? That is my time for me. That's the only time I have reserved for me. Especially if I'm doing things like, oh, I have to throw a load of laundry in and, go and do that. Okay, cool. Can throw a load of laundry in. Now I'm going to sit down and I'm going to oil paint until I have to get up and change loads of laundry, right? And I'll work on an oil painting for a very specific, determined amount of time. And once that time is done, it's like, okay, my time for this is done. That's cool. But I don't really have a chill button per se, or like a decompression feature until Sundays. I'm pretty hardcore when it comes down to go. But that's just kind of the way I've always been. So I don't really know if that's any help. But I find that time management to me is what really does it, as opposed to money management. Because what's the sense of having all of this money set aside if you have no time to spend it?
That's really good point. Now I want to pick your brain about time management, a skill that I have none.
Well, time management is something
my time is always spent in panic mode.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. But time management is something, it took me a long time to get used to getting down a set, consistent daily schedule and a set, consistent weekly schedule, and figuring out, okay, what needs to be done and when, and then sticking to it, right? That's kind of the key to time management. You can sit down and think about it all you want. You can plan all this shit all you want. But unless you're going to stick to it, and really push like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do this on Sunday nights because I have this. And this is something I've already made a commitment to. So unless you're going to actually like stick to that schedule, like to your abs every now and then, fine, vary it up. But by every now and then, I'm talking like once every 2 or 3 months, right? Because it takes 30 days to form a habit. Okay. And I think it's something like 90 days to truly incorporate it into your routine. I could be wrong in that, but I know it's something along those lines. So if you do something consistently at the same time every day, even if it's something simple, like when you wake up, make your bed, right? First thing you do every morning, make your bed. And you can YouTube a whole bunch of different videos on why that's an important thing to do if you really want to be successful. There's tons of videos out there. I hear it mentioned on lots of different ones all the time. But it really is something that really helps sets your day off right. But that if that's the first thing you do, it doesn't matter what time you wake up, you know, make sure that that is the first thing you do every day. You know, have a set routine. You know, go through, and then after that, you know, take a shower or get dressed or go on a jog or whatever. You know, if you enjoy working out and going running at 3 a.m, wake up at, you know, 2:30, make your bed, get dressed, and go on a run. You know, but
speaking of time management and running in the mornings, Ricardo, are you still doing that?
Ricardo actually had to head out.
Oh,
yeah. Sorry.
Gotcha. Oh, I didn't even notice.
I believe he is still going out every morning and jogging.
Jogging. Yeah.
Yes. It's got a silent J.
Yeah. That's always impressed me because as somebody who doesn't have time management skills, especially as somebody who is really, really bad at mornings, and I have a really difficult time getting up and getting going. I've always been really impressed by Ricardo's dedication and discipline. I've always been pretty impressed by your discipline too. You always have things like almost down to a science as far as what you're doing, when you're doing it, and all of that. And I mean, I don't have those types of skills. So I think that, yeah, you're right. Baby steps first, setting a routine.
Part of the reason why I have things down to a science is, for lack of a better reason, I have to have it down to a science. I have to have a routine in place, in order, set and ready to go. Otherwise, I won't do things that I have to do. Right. I have a very busy life. I have purposefully made sure my life is insanely busy. Part of the reason why I do that is because it keeps me out of trouble. So by involving myself purposefully and taking on a lot of responsibilities for a lot of things, that if I make that commitment, it's going to get done, you know? But by doing that, it forces me to say, okay, I've made this commitment to do this every Sunday at 1 p.m. You know, unless of course I'm traveling or I'm out at a show and I'm doing convention coverage or whatever. But this is going on every Sunday at 1 p.m. as long as I am in the state at my house, right? That is a responsibility I have taken on. Thus, I need to budget my time in accordance with that. You know, I took on a printmaking company, right? So I'm running prints. Okay, well, when I get home from the studio, starting at 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night, usually going until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, unless I have a major tattoo that I have been slacking on, which I try to be proactive about that. But unless I've got something major like that I have to draw up the night before, I am going to be working on prints from 9:30 until midnight. You know, and if whatever I get done in that block of time is whatever I get done in that block of time. If I have to wake up the next morning and finish up the next morning, I'll do that. But I usually try to reserve the mornings for balancing my finances, getting everything in order for that, reconciling bank accounts or ordering supplies or Instagram marketing or checking flight times and prices or scoping out new conventions, things of that nature. You know, so I'm constantly trying to keep myself so busy that I don't have time to get into trouble. And by keeping myself and taking on all of these responsibilities, I literally don't have the time to get into trouble with anything. But that's part of the reason why I'm so neurotic about my schedule, is because if I don't do these things, then I end up in a situation where I don't have clean clothes for the week. I don't have food to eat in the morning for breakfast. I will run out of cereal.
Oh, no, not your Lucky Charms.
Actually, I stopped eating Lucky Charms a few years back. I used to eat Lucky Charms religiously every morning, believe it or not. I think
more of a Fruit Loops person myself.
Oh, ew. Compared to Lucky Charms, really?
Yeah, I like the fruity stuff. Well, the thing is, half of Lucky Charms is fucking weird shaped Cheerios, and I hate Cheerios.
Yeah, it's like Alphabets. It's like Alphabets. Alphabet cereal, you remember that?
Yeah, just cardboard and milk.
Pretty much, but it was substance.
Nope. I will take my lack of sustenance, fruity sugar instead.
But that's kind of the way that I've had to start living my life. You know, I don't have the option to go through and have, you know, unscheduled blocks of time, because there is always something more that I have to do or accomplish. You know, there's always, whether it's, you know, going outside and raking the leaves because the deadline for that is coming up, you know, so I have to make sure that all of my leaves are piled up and bagged and, or out at the curb or, you know, whatever. But I have to do that, because if I don't do that, they sit around all year up until the spring when they start doing refuse collection again. And that I can't have, because then that becomes a hazard. And then if you start to think about the possibilities, it's like, okay, if I leave all the leaves on the driveway and we get snow and the snow melts and then ice is over, I'm driving
slip and slide city.
Exactly. All because I didn't get the leaves out.
Yeah, that is really hazardous. Okay, so one of the things I think one of my problems is that I don't have a whole lot of discipline. I wouldn't say that I don't have a lot of discipline. I think that I am easily overwhelmed and I bite off more than I can chew very regularly. And it's hard for me to take baby steps in learning things like time management, which I need time management in order to stay on top of my inventory, because the reason that I'm I always mess up with my inventory is because I haven't ever set aside time to go through what I have and see what I need to restock on.
Well, here's an easy way to deal with that. Let me ask you this question. What time does your studio open?
It opens usually around when I get in, about noon.
Okay, so you're getting in right about noon every day.
Yep, 11:30 to noon every day.
Okay.
We don't start taking appointments till like 1, but I like to show up at least an hour or so early to get into the zone. Okay. Which is usually opening up responsibilities, you know.
Right, which makes sense. Making sure that everything's nice and cleaned and there's no trash laying around, making sure that, you know, all your drawings are done, your stencils are run.
A lot of that time is spent, setting up and working on stencils and stuff like that. Yeah.
So one thing that you could do, and this is just potential help to whatever, you know, your process is. One thing that you could do is, instead of working on your line work for your stencils that morning, do them that night. Do them the night before. Get them done and over with. That way you don't have to worry about it. You can show up at the studio. All you have to do is print your stencil. Right? And now you've got all that time that you would normally spend drawing that stencil and that line work out. Now you have that to go through and do your inventory. Yeah, it involves, you know, sitting down and like actually doing it the night before. And I'm not saying I haven't run into the, for lack of a better term, issue or situation where I've had to sit down and do my line work in the morning. And there's still times that I do that. But typically speaking, I try to get all of that done in advance. You know, I try to get all of my designs done, set, ready to go, line work set and ready to be printed out, stenciled up, so that way the second someone walks in the door, boom, they fill out a form, or if they haven't filled out a form yet, they fill one out. Usually I try to have them fill one out in advance. You know, whenever they would come in to set up an appointment, cool, let's have you fill out a waiver. And boom, there you go. This way, when you come in for your appointment date and time, all you have to do is come in. I'll already have your waiver set up at my area. I'll have the line work printed at the appropriate size, or I'll give you 3 different sizes to pick from, so that when you come in, it's cool. Come on back to my area. Let's get started. Right?
Yeah.
But that gives me time when I get there, because I usually get to the studio about an hour early every day. That gives me time to sit down at my station and go through, what pigments am I running low on? How's my gray wash looking? What cartridges am I running out of? You know, what batteries do I have charged so that I can use those today? What do I have going on here and there? What's my, you know, do I need to go through and sweep and mop today? Of course I do. Let me go through and I'll sweep and mop real quick. That'll take 15, 20 minutes. Boom. Now I've already done my inventory. I've cleaned and everything's set up. I've run a stencil, because you run that through a machine. That takes what, 2 minutes? Not even. And now you have everything set and ready to go. Plus you've done your inventory.
So going back to the part where you're doing everything the night before, that is where I run into a stamina problem. When I get home from work, I'm done. I am absolutely done. Like I've been taking a step back from guys' Monday night classes recently, because Mondays are my Fridays. And by the time I get home from work, I've worked all week. My brain is done, kaput. And there's no time in between me getting home from work and guys' class for me to decompress. So usually by the time I start the class, I'm already running on empty. Right. And having a really difficult time catching up, playing along, paying attention, or even having the energy to draw. So now I have to take a step back from that. But the thing is, that's also in lesser forms, because not every night is my Friday and at the end of like a 5-day work week. At the end of my work days, I'm very often too tired to do anything. Lately, I've been noticing that I will set up drawing and everything so that I can work on art projects and stuff for the next day. And then I sit and stare at like my blank TV screen, because the TV is not even on, for like 3 hours, and then just go to bed. Like just donezo. My brain does not work after work. So doing the drawings and stuff the night before has become difficult due to a lack of stamina.
So I used to run into that a lot. One thing that I changed that I found that helped was, instead of looking at my work day as ending when I leave the studio, my work day now does not end until that last line drawing is done, right? I am still in work mode at work when I get home from the studio, because I know that work is not done, right? But for me, it was a mindset change. It was a perspective change, right? I knew that I needed to change the way that I thought about things in order to still keep that momentum going. And yeah, it makes for a lot of really, really long days. It does. And it's not fun, you know, but I know that that's something I need to do in order to be prepared for the next day. If I can get those done, say I've got downtime at the studio where no one's walking in, you know, I've got an appointment cancellation or whatever, I'll go through and I'll proactively try to go through and get those line drawings done at the studio when I have downtime. So that way, if I do want to go home, I have the option to sit and stare at my blank TV, you know, and I don't have to worry about, okay, what do I have coming in the next day? What do I need to do as far as that's concerned? I don't have that worry anymore, because I know that, all right, well, I mean, I've already got all the line drawings done for the coming week, because I was able to do those on Thursday when I had a cancellation. Or if no one walks in, cool, fine, whatever. I've got other things I need to work on anyway. You know, so that's just, it was a mindset change I had to go through in order to achieve that kind of a thought process. So maybe that's helpful.
I would just
maybe it's not.
Yeah, I would just be afraid that that would get me into the working all the time and expediting burnout mode. It's definitely a task to try to find the right balance between rest and productivity in anybody's life, because everybody has different levels of that, you know. It's all really relative. For like what you can handle is very different than what I can handle. What Ricardo can handle is probably really different from what Seth can handle.
Right.
You know? And finding balance is definitely a task itself.
Yeah, and I don't really have the best sense of that, I'll be honest. I don't. I'm a 100% fully fledged, self-admitted workaholic. But that's also partly because I love what I do. You know, so I'm not viewing it so much as work. I'm just viewing it as cool. Now I get to go and have some more fun doing this. You know, it's not always the healthiest thing in the world because, like, I don't, outside of like painting, drawing, graphic design, stuff like that, I don't really have hobbies. I travel and I do other tattoo things when I travel, but like, that's my life. That is my world. I don't have much other than that, except for my wonderful girlfriend. She's absolutely the most patient person I have ever met in my life. And she's very, very patient with me, and I can't thank her enough. But, you know, beyond that, like, I don't know what hobbies are. It's kind of sad, but that's okay.
I don't think it's sad. I think your hobby is your work.
It is.
Like you're one of the people, like a lot of us, who is really, really lucky to be able to find a career that is parallel with what you enjoy doing in your spare time. So it's not that you don't have hobbies and that you're working all the time. There literally isn't too much of a line between the difference. Like at any given point in time, you could say that you're doing your hobby and you're working.
Right. And so but it does get to be a little much sometimes. It does.
Yeah.
It's by not having,
it's the same thing.
You know, and my parents, you know, God bless their souls. They haven't passed away or anything, but you know, they've been very patient with me because they're like, you are always working. And it's like, no, my job is also my hobby. Like it took me many years to get that through their mind to where they actually acknowledge the fact that, yeah, what I do, I love doing. And not only is it profitable and I can make a living doing it, but you know, it's also my passion in life. It's everything that I've been working my life towards. So
yeah, I think that's really, really cool because you get to genuinely say that you're looking forward to work, and on your off time, you can still be productive and have fun.
Yeah, like my version of fun with friends isn't necessarily going out to the bar with them. It's, hey, why don't you guys come over and we can do like a drink and draw or a painting with a twist or, you know, something like that where, oh, you guys want to drink? Cool. I want to draw and paint. Cool. Why don't we combine the two? Come over. I have enough art supplies to outfit an entire town. Like, yeah, you'll have your own easel. What can you say against that?
Yeah, so I definitely know that I need to pack up and move to Philly because that is also my idea of a great time instead of going out to the bar.
Yeah, like, okay, cool. You want to have a glass of wine? Cool. Go grab a bottle. I don't care. You know, but that's my version of fun. You know, I feel kind of sorry that I don't have more friends that view that as a version of fun, but that's what I love. That's what I enjoy doing. Like I loved it during COVID, during quarantine. I was in my absolute element. I was like, so I'm going to get paid to stay home and draw and paint all day. Yes, let's do that. I'll hop on some Zoom and I'll Zoom with a few people and, you know, we'll do like virtual drawing and painting sessions together. Absolutely. Yes. You know, like that was like, that to me, that was great. It wasn't for a lot of people and, you know, that really sucks, but I had an absolute blast and I still do that every now and then. Ricardo, Bruno, Kirsten and I will all get together on Zoom and we'll just have like a virtual art night.
Oh, dude, invite me.
The next time we do, I definitely will. But that I love doing stuff like that. That's why I tune in during Renee's paint nights every month. You know,
I am very excited. I'm very excited for my upcoming schedule change. I will soon, at the end of this month, actually have Mondays off. So that means that I won't be stretching myself too thin. I'll be able to actually get a night's rest and have several hours of, you know, being awake and regathering myself before Guy's class instead of coming to his class straight from, you know, 510s. And I'll be able to join in on his classes again. I'll be able to join in on Renee's classes. I'll be able to hop on Robbie's thing, and I will have way more time to finish up my puzzles.
Absolutely. See, right there, that tells me that you've already found the answer to your issue.
Well, to that issue.
But I mean, sometimes it does require having a schedule change, you know, or adjusting your daily schedule or your weekly schedule to accommodate these things.
It does suck.
I have Mondays and Sundays off. I don't have to worry about that a whole lot because those are already my days off. But you know, it's like that is something that I was very fortunate with in the beginning. If you work on Mondays and Sundays, well, kind of stinks. Although I'll be honest with you, some of the happiest times of my life were when I was working at the studio 6 days a week. You know, I would be there Tuesday through Sunday, obviously at differing times because I had another full-time job as well. But I loved that. I loved that kind of like work environment where I was constantly working. When I switched my schedule, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was completely lost. I was like, well, what do I do now? But I think adjusting that schedule alone is going to change everything.
Well, as it stands, I'm currently the artist in the shop that's working more days a week than anybody else and more hours. And I also realized that I'm starting to become also the crankiest person in the shop and the most tired. And I feel like that might have to do with the fact that I'm not changing up my environment enough. I'm in one place a lot. And I'm a type of person that really needs a lot more rest for my brain. You know, my brain doesn't have the stamina that yours does. You know, I can't work a 12-hour day and be all like, that was super awesome. I can work 9 hours and be all like, that's good. 1 more hour and I'm going to be in a very bad mood. But yeah, so I think it'll be really healthy for me to cut back the time that I'm in the shop so that I can, you know, make more time for other things that are work related, are art related and stuff. But I won't be in the shop so often under the fluorescent lights so often. And, you know, yeah, I think it'll be very good. We'll see what happens at the end of this month. And I'll be excited to join back in on the Monday programs that Reinventing has. Mondays are such a busy day for Reinventing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's putting it lightly.
Yeah. And there's so much good shit happening on Mondays that I don't get to see too. So I'm really excited to have more time to focus on that, because in the long run, it's going to help me.
Right. Well, and that's, but keep this in mind, right? Rome was not built in a day. A lot of things take time and patience and persistence. And you're going to encounter certain things and certain situations that, you know, can only really be solved with time. There's no getting around that. It's acknowledging the fact that, okay, this is a difficult point right now, but I'm going to get through it and I'll push through it and life will be fine once this gets, you know, sorted or whatever. But it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
It takes time to figure this stuff out. And it takes time to figure out your own schedule as well. I think that's where I was trying to go with things, right?
Yeah.
I've been working on my own like daily and weekly schedule, trying to get the most balanced routine down for many years. And I found what works for me. But what works for me may not work for everyone else. You know? But I found that like consistent routines and consistency is what ultimately is going to make the difference in a lot of different things. So I don't know. I think this
routine. Yeah, I'm starting.
I swear by routine. I can't.
Yeah.
I have routines even when I don't have routines, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely as humans, we're all creatures of routine. It's a very chaotic way to live, to not have routine. And some people do thrive in chaos, but you can make a chaotic routine. Yeah, no, like I've got my routines too. Like I make my bed every morning when I get up. It has to be done. It absolutely has to be done. I don't feel right starting my day without it, you know? And then immediately when my bed is done, I go straight to the bathroom and I brush my teeth, because I do not like having unbrushed teeth.
Yeah. Ew.
I just, like, some people brush their teeth right before they go out the door. I'm like, you went all morning just feeling that in your mouth?
Ew.
I don't get it. Like, I would much rather brush my teeth and then drink orange juice than to go all morning. I would rather
orange juice.
I would take that over going all morning without brushing my teeth and then brush my teeth before I head out. But that's some people's patterns, and great for them, but I can't do it. I cannot let my teeth sit like that.
Yeah, that ew, not good. But yeah, once again, everyone's routine is different. Everyone's a little bit different with what they can accomplish and how they feel and what their bodies are telling them is a good thing. You know, I'm also a very firm believer that the human body, with all of its adaptations over time, can adapt to almost anything. You know, and if you force it to adapt, it will. Look at, you know, all the people that came over across the ice bridge and, you know, all the different ways that humans have adapted to different climates. You know, it just, to me, it's like, it's just another form of adaptation. But that's, you know, just a personal perspective. But routines are key. They are absolutely the key to everything. Because
I need to make doing inventory part of my routine.
You do, and you would be surprised. Even if you go through in the morning, it takes 3 minutes to just go through, pick up every box of every cartridge that you own, just shake it. 3 minutes. Pick up a box, shake it. If it sounds like it's running low, buy more of it, or put it on a list to buy the next week, right? It doesn't take a whole lot of time to do it. I've got it down so that I know every time I go to reach for a grouping, I know that if I only see 10 cartridges left in that box, I'm putting that on the list to order. That way I never run out of those cartridges that I need the most. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know, it's a habit I got into, and it's part of my routine where as I'm setting up for every tattoo that I do, it's just a quick little mental thing, you know, but because I always try to get set up for these tattoos in advance before the person ever gets there, it becomes part of my setup routine. So it doesn't always have to be its own standalone event. A lot of times you can just incorporate it with other things. Like you're going to shake up, you know, get your pigments shaken up, getting ready for the day. You know, if you've got a color piece to do, oh, but you grab one and it rattles a little bit more than it did the last time you used it, put it on the list.
You know, yep, I do have a list inside my locker that I started with all of the things I needed to get ready to re-up on, but I think I accidentally stuck pieces of art over it. I haven't seen it in a while.
So what I found was helpful as far as my list goes, I actually keep a small pad of Post-it notes right on top of my toolbox where all of my stuff is. It's right in between my pigments on a shelf, right? And my toolbox where all of my cartridges are. It's right there on the top because I work off of like a glass top drawing table next to it. So if I'm running low on something, that Post-it note is right there and I just scribble it down real quick. You know, so it's right there. It's right in front of me at all times. I don't have to second guess anything. I don't have to worry about like, okay, let me run back to my locker and put this on the list. If it's right there, I know I'm going to write it down. If it's not right there, I'm going to completely forget about it. I know this about myself enough.
Sorry, I got distracted looking at these raw pigments.
They're awesome.
They're so pretty. I got Blue Haze, which is just, oh,
love that.
Gorgeous. Color. Yeah. And I swear this Cash Out is the greenest green I've ever seen in my life. There is none more green.
Yeah, Cash Out is a great green. I like Raw Pigments Kawasaki green. That to me is awesome. It's very yellow green, but it works really, really well. Just remember this when you're using those raw pigments. They're large flake powder. They're going to saturate the skin very quickly. So you're not going to have to go back into those colors hardly at all.
Oh, I know. I've been noticing. I have been slowly collecting about some more raw colors here and there as I've been changing out and replacing bottles of ink that are running low, and like a couple of that Black Cauldron tattoo I sent you recently for critique. That one is mostly raw pigments. There's only a couple of colors in there that I used other brands on, only because I didn't change them out for raw yet. And I think I went over some other colors too on a follow-up session with raw instead. But that one came back so bright and so vivid, and every color was exactly where I put it. And
it's like game changing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really, really nice. Shout out to Raw Pigments. Holy crap.
Yeah. But on that note, I think it's going to be about time to get heading out for the day.
Yeah, I got to start getting ready for my work day.
As always, Medusa, thank you very much for jumping in today. It's always a pleasure to have you on here.
Thank you for having me.
And GR, thank you very much for jumping in as well. Maybe we can figure out something where we can get you on the audio conference next time.
Hell yeah, dude. Your shit is good.
Yeah, dude. Like sick.
Fucking sick, bro.
Allie, thanks for jumping in today in the YouTube. Same thing with you, Iron Rose Tattoo Company. Just wanted to say thanks, guys, for jumping in and saying hi and making some comments. Medusa, why don't you go ahead and tell us where we can reach you?
I am Medusa. You can reach me at medusaslays.com or on Instagram at medusaslays with 3 S's at the end, not in the beginning, not in the middle, at the very end. And that's it.
Appreciated. Thank you very much. And let me spotlight myself. And everyone, thank you very much for jumping in on today's show. It's always a pleasure. We love having everyone on here. If you like today's show, if you like what we talked about, if you like some of the things that we discussed, by all means, go through, hit that like and subscribe button, or, follow us if you're, on the YouTubes or podcasting. Go through, send us a follow, or hit us on, give us that like and subscribe. You can always reach me on Instagram at Philly Inc, PhillYink. For all of your printmaking needs out there, you can always find me at Tattoo Art Prints on Instagram. Feel free to hit me up if you ever want to get prints made or anything like that, or if you want to talk about the process or how you might be able to improve your own prints, paper types, all types of stuff like that. I'm always happy to chat. But thank you, everyone, once again for everything. It's been a blast. Medusa, as always, thank you for participating today. And yeah, cheers, everyone. Hope everyone's got a great week ahead of them, and keep those hands moving.
Bye.